Welcome! Today, we're basically becoming geological detectives. We're going to solve a massive mystery. How in the world scientists can read our planet's 4.5 billion-year-old story, especially when entire chapters have been literally ripped out.
So let me ask you this. Imagine you're reading a book, but right at the good part, a bunch of pages are just gone. How would you piece the plot together? Well, believe it or not, that is the exact challenge geologists face every single day.
So first things first, we need to get familiar with our crime scene. And in this case, the scene of the crime is the Earth's rock record itself, which, as you'll see, is pretty broken.
Okay, so think of layers of rock. Geologists call them strata, as pages in a history book. Each layer tells the story of a specific moment in time. But here's the catch. This book is ancient, and over millions of years, forces like erosion have just worn away entire pages. Or sometimes for ages, no new pages were even written at all.
This gap, this missing chunk of time, actually has a name. It's called an unconformity. It's a literal break in the story, a chronological black hole in Earth's autobiography. So the big question is, how do we fill in those blanks?
Well, luckily, like any good detective, a geologist knows that even when the pages are missing, clues are always left behind. You just gotta know where to look.
The whole investigation really boils down to two main pieces of evidence. First, you've got the rock layers themselves. You know, what kind of rocks they are, what order they're in. And second, and this is a big one, you've got the fossils tucked away inside those layers. They're like little time-stamped artifacts from ancient life.
All right, so we have our clues. Now we get to the really cool part, the core technique geologists use to connect these different crime scenes and stitch the whole story back together.
And that process is called correlation. It's really just a fancy word for matching. You're matching up rock layers and fossils from different places. If a layer over here matches a layer way over there, you've just connected two pages of the story.
So, what do you say? Let's try it ourselves. Go ahead, put on your geologist hat. You're standing at the edge of a huge canyon, and your job is to figure out how the rock layers on the west wall connect to the layers on the east wall.
Okay, here are two rock sequences. Now, notice they aren't identical. See how location A has that shale layer on top that's totally missing from B? And location B has that conglomerate layer at the bottom that isn't in A? This is a classic geological puzzle.
So go on, take a second, see if you can crack it. Which layers in location A match up with the layers in location B? Where's the overlap?
All right, did you get it? The key is to find that unique pattern that shows up in both places. That sequence of shale, then sandstone, then limestone, that's our match. So what does that tell us? It tells us the top shale layer in A is younger and that bottom conglomerate in B is older. We just filled in a gap. See?
Now, connecting layers across a canyon is one thing. But what do you do when your evidence isn't just on the other side of a canyon, but on the other side of the world?
Yeah, matching up a sandstone layer in North America with one in Europe, that doesn't really work. We need a much more powerful clue. We need a kind of universal timestamp that works absolutely anywhere on the planet.
And this is where our master key comes in, the index fossil. This is the fossil of a very particular type of organism that gives us an unmistakable fingerprint for one specific slice of geologic time. It's a total game changer.
So there are basically three golden rules for a fossil to be a great index fossil. First, the creature had to be short-lived. That means it pins down a really narrow, specific time frame. Second, it had to be abundant. There were tons of them, so we can actually find their fossils easily. And finally, it has to be widespread. That's what lets us connect rocks from, say, South America all the way to Asia.
So now, let's see how this all comes together. By applying these correlation techniques, with rocks and with fossils, thousands of times all over the globe, geologists have solved the biggest puzzle of all, the complete history of Earth.
And I'm not just talking about one match in one canyon. We're talking about thousands upon thousands of these correlations made by geologists all over the world for more than 100 years. Every single match adds one more piece to this gigantic global puzzle.
And this is the incredible result of all that work, the geologic timescale. I mean, think about it. This is one of humanity's greatest achievements, a complete timeline built not from written records, but from clues in rock and fossils, stretching back billions of years, all the way from the age of mammals, through the dinosaurs, and way, way back to the planet's very beginnings.
And that right there, that's really the key takeaway. That simple act of matching, of correlation.
That is the fundamental tool that allowed us to build this incredible timeline. It's like the geologists say. It is largely through correlation that we have been able to construct Earth's history and fill in all those missing pages. Which leaves us with one final, pretty cool thought. We've built this amazing timeline, but the book of Earth's history is still being written, and it's still being read. So the real question is, what new chapters, what amazing forgotten stories are still locked away in the rocks, just waiting for the next generation of detectives to find them?